What up, y'all, man? Welcome to the Man Cave experience with myself, Cedric Edison, and my main man, Ron Servin. What's up out there, man, on the other side of the United States, bro? What's good?
Oh, I was just thinking before we got on, it's been what, 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks since our last show, which we did live with Simona, and that was like the day of hell breaking
Yup.
loose. Um, and it's just, it's hard to, from an outside, kind of from here, kind of looking out and just what we've experienced here. We've had rallies in the area. We've had, a lot of obvious, things going on around the larger cities near me, LA, Pasadena, some substantial showings of not just Black people, but just people of all nationalities, races. So for me, as I'm sitting here now, and I've been in this, not this exact place, but just feeling this sense of hope, the sense of, is this, or can this be the camel that broke the hare's back, or the hare that broke the camel's back, whatever that is, that just allows us to wake up as a human race. I was telling you, before we got on as well, that, it was a year and a half ago, we had a topic, black and white, knowing that there was still, challenges in the world then, and just not realizing, at least for me, how deep that situation is, or was, or is continuing to be. So I just, I love being here tonight. We don't have like an agenda. We just had the opportunity just to show up, be here, and just let whatever comes up, anger, frustration, joy, all those feelings that are part of this whole process. So I, for the first and foremost, the value that I think this relationship with you and I, have had is just even more in my awareness, because I've always looked at you as just an amazing man. Yes, you're Black. Yes, you're from Texas. Yes, you have, these other things about you, but I've never looked at you as being anything other than just an amazing human being. And I think sometimes that's hard because we think others think like us. So I'm just, coming into this space with gratitude, hope, and just a willingness just to do more than I've done before, to really, learn, to grow, to, kind of lean further into my edge. I've mentioned to you, Seth, about just being a leader in my community. And, I'm sure this is more of a Republican town, and that doesn't mean that connects to racism and any of that. But, there are a lot of people that aren't always open to doing something different. So I think that's kind of where I'm checking in right now. Just a little all over the map, and just truth be told, I don't even said to you. I think I told you today. It's hard for me sometimes to know what to say to you. As a man that I feel connected to. I can't feel your pain. I haven't been through what you've gone through. I haven't, your race that has gone, has been through so much just over time. I mean, it's just, unfathomable to even be in that space. So I can't imagine, nor, can I understand what you're going through. But I will do my best. I commit myself to you, to mankind, to just being the best human being that I can be. Not a white man, not a Black man, not a Jew, not anything other than just a white man on this earth, just a man on this earth.
Man, much appreciated. Much appreciated. Well, man, that's what the show's about, dude. And we was like, yeah, we just gonna jump in and just chop it up on it.
Because you've gone through. I mean, just go ahead. I'm just gonna say, because I know just a week or so ago, I mean, you had a lot of anger, a lot of emotions, a lot of things that were coming to your awareness that were all real.
Yeah. Man, I was all over the map. And for y'all that's watching it, and if y'all know me, man, I'm Mr. Humble Pie, You know what I'm saying? Just chilled, laid back, because I have been that angry dude and that person. But what I was really trying to have come across was real just vulnerability. That was the way I felt like, man, okay, this is how I can show up in the moment with everything that I have going on, and let me just show that it's okay to talk about this.
Yeah.
One, um, and some of that, and really a lot of it, dude. A lot of the frustration piece of it comes from, being here for 41 years and dealing with it, and then for whatever reason, it takes a person to lose their life for the world to wake up, but I'm like, man, I'm thankful that COVID happened, because the world was on a slowdown. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was glued. You're bored because they haven't been moving around for 2 months, and then all of a sudden this happened. So that was a bit of the frustration, and then seeing people that I looked up to, whatever, colleagues, and it was just like, whoa, seeing all of it. It was like, man, some people don't care, because, and they try and paint it with politics, and I'm like, y'all not getting it. It can't have nothing to do
Yeah.
about that,
No.
and honestly, bro, is it's not a whole lot you can say. It's just I understand, and that's enough, because we know you're not a dummy, like adults aren't, you got sense enough to know, okay, right from wrong, or whatever the case. And so all you can say is like, yo, my bad, I feel for you. You know what I'm saying? And then to help eradicate it from just my single standpoint, just stand up and speak out. I'm hoping that this is the catalyst to change, and I'm not trying to make nobody a martyr and say, hey, because it's way bigger than any one person. It's just really the color of the skin. And there's stuff we can do, and there's stuff that the cards are stacked against us. That's just the simple reality. But then that's where our white counterparts come in. You know what I'm saying? Like, for hell, for 400 years, we've been screaming, shouting, trying. You know, then we finally, in the 60s, they try and make, it's somewhat official. But I mean, if we just look at the reality, I don't care about no numbers. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about numbers, because I'm just saying, in my generation, hell, I grew up on food stamps. I had nothing to do with the environment that was there for me when I got here. So that environment I was in, you cannot tell me that I had the same opportunity as somebody that was in a better school. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to hit it when my reality is totally different. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where it's at, man. And I just wanted to put that out there just for you, and just for whoever listening, probably trying to get another perspective. But that's me just keeping it real on my thoughts and how that all came out. You know what I'm saying? And now it's it's um it's interesting though. It's really interesting, and it makes me have to kind of deal with a lot of other emotion that comes up when I just think about it, because I'm just thinking for my little old time here on this ball. It's like, well, damn, like, why was everybody so blind to it? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, y'all
Because
were
I think
seeing.
I think because it served them well. I think it kept it kept something that wasn't in their in their backyard, to where they didn't have to really deal with it. So they could be judgmental. They could put a a tag on it or label it as something that didn't impact them, or when it did impact them, then they had the tendency. I think people have the tendency just to group everybody together,
So
because
I
they're,
got a question for you though.
yeah.
And it is probably, but and I'm just curious, man, and I know you're gonna give it to me straight. So my question, I'll ask a question and I have like one and a possible follow up. So when was it? Did you realize that racism was real and that it was as bad as we see it?
Well, when I first realized it was real, I was just talking about this the other day. It was at my house when I was probably, gosh, 7, 8, 9 years old, somewhere around there. My mom's brother, my uncle, came to our house, and he brought a black woman that he was dating with him. And I just remember my father not allowing them in our house. And it just boggled my mind. I didn't see, I mean, obviously I see a different skin color. It wasn't predominant in my neighborhood. We had some black people in our school, but it wasn't something that I saw on a regular basis. I hadn't really been exposed to, that I can remember, racial slurs or, bigotry or just, clear prejudice against black people when I was growing up. But that just gave me a clear indication, at least where my father came from. I don't think my mom felt the same way. It was her brother, so I think she had some understanding that this is my brother and I want him in my house regardless of who he's with. But I just remember my father just having that, and then his twin brother was just off, completely off as far as just his prejudicial statements and how he conducted himself. So when did I realize how bad it was? I mean, I would have to say, the Rodney King situation, just, that being so close to home and just experiencing that. But even that for me, it was far enough away, although I'm near LA, it was far enough away to where it wasn't something that came into our neighborhood, into our backyard type thing. So I don't feel like I ever tried to understand the situation. It was just, I had, comfort around me. It wasn't really talked about. And I'm saddened by that. I wish I would have been involved. I wish I would have been brought up to speed. I wish I would have been, nurtured in a way that really talks about inclusiveness and how we can work together. I mean, I just know there's, when we look at a race of people, whether it's Asians or blacks or whites or whatever, there's misfits and shitty people in all races that are doing equal things. And I think for the human race to, kind of still in 2020, which is amazing, right? 2020, better vision, right? 2020 vision, how unclear our lives were or are at this point. And maybe this 2020 thing is actually going to be, something of significance now. Maybe our vision is going to get better in our lives. Just kind of an interesting year. And I think I know we spoke about this with Anthony and just his acceptance of, different, sexual orientation and things of that nature, just to see that side of it. So I'm able to, experience not horrible racial tensions and bigotry on my side, some, and then having a son that's 15 that just doesn't see any of that. He's just more curious and doesn't quite understand. And then here I'm in the middle, having, I think, to be honest with you, for me, for me, it was more the influx of Asians into our neighborhoods and in our schools, and which was more impactful, like you're moving into our area type thing. So for me, that was more of an influence or an uncomfortableness that was kind of pushed upon me that I unfortunately connected to for a certain period of my life, just how they're different versus how we're the same. So that's kind of where I landed. in relation to having a prejudicial time in my life that I can. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, yeah,
I did, but
and I'm gonna have a follow, and I guess the follow up to that would be, and it was so, like, what happened or what was going on with you, like when we heard like national names like Tamir Rice, Michael Brown, Alton Sterling, and each time we're like, yo, hey, I ain't saying Michael Brown or Mortar, but y'all might want to take a look over here, man. Like we 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 get messed up, and then it happens again, and we like, hey y'all, and it's in the spotlight. And so,
yeah.
like, what was going on, and like with you, like, where was that disconnect to where? Because to me, it's like now, and I'm really just trying to understand what it was about this particular situation. It's no different than the other ones. We saw them on camera. And I don't know, it was because we were right here in the face of this guy's killer, and it just seemed like there was no emotion behind it. I don't know. But I'm wondering, like, what's the difference now? What's the wake up with the white community now versus Michael Brown's and all of those? Not asking you for the whole white community, but just you as a
That's a
person.
great question because I can't pinpoint something. I think it was just my willingness to probably just look the other way, to not focus in on the deeper issue that was there. I would just see it. It's like, oh, there's another situation that's probably going to be kind of pushed aside, and cops are going to go free, and so it almost like was a numbing effect. I think and I think part of it for me is probably my lack of awareness, to be honest with you. It's just not really being in a space in my life where, I was in, I guess, connected to myself in a way where when others become, frustrated or hurt or angered, before I had no connection with myself. So I was never really interested in connecting what others were going through. So I think my compassion, my willingness to, kind of, create some gratitude for all the work that I've put in my life to get to where I'm at, and just having a much stronger sense of, we're all in this together. And I don't think I would have said that probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I would have just, kind of been more numb, probably using drugs, not really connected to myself, not connected to life, not even connected to my relationships, to a certain extent at the level that I am now. So I think I'm just much more aware. And that's a crappy excuse. But I feel like there's probably, unfortunately, a lot of people that are going to kind of stay stuck in that they're not going to really realize that this awareness that they're not having around what's gone on is something that's a chronic problem probably in their life, where they're not aware of their own self. They're not aware of their relationship with their husband, or they're not really aware of their relationship with God, or they're not all these other contributors that just allow us or almost force us to be disconnected with life in general, just not having any type of sense of groundedness and willingness to reach out to others, to want to help, to ask, it's like I'd love to ask the question, and I will ask the question. It's like, what advice would you give a young black man today? This going to somebody that's still very prejudiced and feeling this anger towards, the black population. What do you suggest? What is your solution? What is your suggestion on how they can, be able to create be an accepted part of this life that we live?
Well, I don't know. I've had run-ins, like I told you, man, about 15 minutes from where I'm from. Back in the day was like KKK headquarters. You know what I'm saying? And trying to have conversations, basically the only thing that they'll be satisfied with is if we just get the hell out of America. Like, to me, that's I wouldn't say a true racist, but that's like a racist bigot, like just ran into him, you know?
And there's so much hate, right? It's so.
Oh yeah, dude. It's some other stuff going on, but it was just really a pass down of bad habits. We know that. You know what I'm saying? Because I look at my son right now. He don't know the difference between a white man, a black man, Asian man. He just see a human being. Okay, it's a tiny one. Oh hell, you my same size. Let's play. You know what I'm saying? Like, anything that he learns about any other race or any other person outside of this home, this house, is what we teach him. You know what I'm saying? So that's all taught, and it's all bad habits, honestly, and just bad mindsets.
Well, it's
But
the learnings that people have been willing to, take on from their parents, right? So I'm assuming most of the people that have that hatred for any race, it was something that's been carried from generation to generation.
oh yeah, dude. And then just around the wrong, I wouldn't say, but around the people that would continue to feed that thought pattern. That's all that was. Um, because you're a product of the people you're around. We hear it all the time. You're average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So that's how I know it's taught, because that's tried and true. But what blows me, but you know what? Like, man, I appreciate those people. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what, man, I appreciate it. Like, we have a conversation. Look, I don't agree with you. You don't agree with me. We'll never see eye to eye. I appreciate you drawing a definite line in the ground. Bam, I see it. You know what I'm saying? You racist as racist as racist. Cool. But what blows me away are the people that, as soon as I mention it or they see something, they mention politics. And I'm like, man, really, if you took the time to sit down and just talk to your fellow human, and most black people, they'll tell you, man, it's nothing. I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. You know what I'm saying? And people trying to play a puppet narrative and trying to, I don't know, it just seems to me it's kind of hurtful, dude, to bring up something or make it seem like I'm crazy when I've lived this for 41 years. When in 2020, I'm still delivering packages for Amazon and still being called a nigger with the ER. You know what I'm saying? That just happened like a few weeks ago. And then, like, as long as I've been working now, I've lost count how many times that's happened to me. You know what I'm saying? And so, and just like the earlier situation I was talking about, the school, like I went to school, man, it was crazy. Guns and people fighting. It was just horrible. So I didn't have those same opportunities. So it's mind-boggling to me that people can say, oh, well, you're being a puppet. You're being led by media. I'm like, I hardly even really watch TV. I didn't even know riots were going. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't the first thing that I was hit with, because I don't engage in all of that. But it's like, when I'm looking at reality, hell, I'm driving down the road, life happening. So what would you say to these people? That was a long way of asking a question. I'll work on that, y'all.
But I think those people that hold on so tightly to a belief, even if they know it's wrong, will continue to hold on to it, because that allows them to maintain what they have felt what is important to them their whole life. It's like, once you kind of crack open one uncertainty. Hey, Karen Caton. crack open one uncertainty as far as the belief that you had before, especially when it's hurtful, then that throws everything else in your life into question. And I think that's what people aren't willing to do. It's like, I can't let go of this. I can't admit this, because then I would feel the pressure of really kind of repealing all these other things that that I don't believe are true, but I've had to continue to build this facade of, this is what I feel like I need to believe in. I don't think it's, honestly, I think there's probably a lot of people that know that this is not how they should believe, or what they should believe. I think there's a percentage of people like that. They maybe want to change. They want to have different thoughts, but they can't even wrap their head around that, because they're so afraid of everything else that they've built this ivory tower with, that's going to come crumbling down if they actually start admitting to themselves and to others, yeah, I fucked up. I did this. I believed this all my life, and now I've realized differently. It's like that willingness to be vulnerable, that willingness to, because I think we're an accepting race, right? We're willing to give people a chance. We're willing to see the harm that may have been caused and give them a second chance. I mean, look how often that happens on a daily basis. And, I truly believe each one of us, even if you're creating bad things in the world, you were born with a good heart. You started, your journey with having a beautiful heart that came from a place of love. And obviously something went sideways, growing up, tragedy, whatever happened to create this sense of entitlement, the sense of, I'm better than you, the sense of division that people are now sitting in their life in. But it's almost, I think, unimaginable for them to even show a crack in that thought process.
Yeah. Because I can only imagine, like, being if the shoe was on the other foot. I know when I think about it, I'm like, yo, it has to be hard to, how can I say it, eat that crow, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, shit, this been going on, and I knew it, and I ain't do shit, but let me do something now. Like, that gotta be hard to be in that position, like, and to deal with that if you're ready to. And I think that could be a big part of it that's happening with a lot of people that's undecided too, and don't know how to deal with all of that. Yeah. Shit, I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought, dude.
I mean, I think, I'm just sitting here thinking, the black race has gone through slavery. I mean, which is horrific. So, I mean, just starting at that place and understanding the dynamics of that, and just the pain. There was a gentleman sharing the other day that, we were talking about this topic, what's going on. And he stated that, he understands racism. He understands kind of this whole thought process of the haters, because he said, like, 90% of his family, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, were all killed in Germany. They were Jews, and just exterminated. So here's a man that had, could have had a lot of hatred towards people, life, all these things that he decided to, or has decided to, create a learning around that. And I think that's what I feel you have done. And I know there's a large percentage of the black population that has done that as well. But I think when you start talking about oppression and all these things that have happened, since then, since slavery, is just almost it's been continuous at some level. And for
people I mean, at least from where I'm sitting,
people to be that blind to that is just, for me, is just shocking. I can't say that I've been one that's out, raising my fist and asking for equality and calling on my brothers to do things in their life. That's on me. But as I sit here today and who I feel like I am today, I feel a little ashamed that or ashamed maybe isn't the word, but I feel responsible for not being more aware, not taking more actions, not being more educated, not being more willing to fight the fight, in a constructive way.
I get it. I get it. Now, like, man, I really appreciate it too. Welcome to being black. You like,
Well, and I,
and
and
that's
I,
what
and I just, when you and I had just met, just doing coaching sessions together and just building that friendship from afar. And just, I remember just, us being able to finally see each other and just that true friendship that we built without even getting to see and experience each other. And now here we are, what, 3+ years later, and we're talking about, topics around masculinity, topics around, frustration with what's going on in the world, love, all these things that are universal. You experience as a black man the same feelings that I experience as a white man: pain, suffering, sadness, anger, frustration. You're no different. You're 99.9999999% biologically the same as me.
it's crazy. Hey, man, I wanted to respond to Karen. The smallness of my voice is what has stopped me from the deeper alignment until now. I'm feeling powerless as a person and a woman. Like, my voice was so small and hate racism so big. Focus on the impact I thought I could make in my life. I feel horrible that it wasn't enough, that it isn't enough. Well, Karen, let me tell you, any little bit counts, because you know what? I'm gonna go off of something you told me, and I say it to this day. Good enough and done is better than perfect and pending. You know, just coming up with something and saying even the smallest thing is doing something versus waiting for the perfect timing or for the stars to be aligned for you to do it. Um, because it's done, there's power in numbers. So if it's now 3 people with the same mission, that's enough. You know what I'm saying? And now us 3 go and impact one, and then that one goes and impact one, and it just keeps growing. So keep rocking out, um, for sure. Like, just keep rocking out,
And we
and
and we've
and
talked about
engage.
and we've talked about other challenges that have manifested over years and years and years. 400 years, right? We can't expect life to shift after 400 years of what's happened in the world. All
And
we
that
can
can
do.
be scary too, dude. It just hit me. That has to be kind of scary to one day waking up and knowing where your morals are, and you're like, that's wrong. And to no fault of your own, you basically been on the sidelines or in the stands at this fucking gladiator war going on, right? And then waking up realizing, like, shit, I gotta get in the fight. But and understanding the severity of it and how hard it is, because it's been going on for 400 years. And now it's like, damn, that's a fight I gotta jump in now.
One, I think,
You
too,
know,
is having willingness to plant the seeds. It's like we have to trust that this is going to take time, but that doesn't mean because it doesn't happen, because the impacts and the changes that I would love to see tomorrow, because they aren't going to happen tomorrow, doesn't mean that I don't give up the fight. It's going to be for my son. It's going to be for your son. It's going to be for the generations that have not even been, born yet, for them to be able to look back in the history and to realize that we actually have evolved as a human race. Because there's so many times where we feel like we've taken great strides, right? We just put 2 men in space, to the the space center, whatever you call it, the International Space Station. That's great, right? Great accomplishment, great accomplishment. But yet we can't figure out just how to do better as a human race, how we can, how we can experience people differently, how can we accept people as who they are, whether you're black, white, gay, whatever that is.
But I said it, man, when I think we was, and I say it all the time, man, like the biggest issue the world is having is a love problem. You know what I'm saying? It's a love problem. Where we've just gotten disconnected to that genuine love connection. That's what I'll call it. But just that connection, like you and I, it was like, man, we just boom, we connected, just human to human. It wasn't none of that. I didn't care Republican, Democrat, black, white, Cali, South. None of that mattered. It's all right. This is a good dude. You know what I'm saying? Like our hearts connecting because but that's going out metaphysical in the vibration. But that's what we need to get back to, and then just mindset, man. And
remember the mirror exercise we did when we were going through BHC? It's like give everybody a mirror on this earth and have them look at themselves in the mirror. And how many of those people would struggle with saying to themselves that they love themselves? I'm curious.
I know I did.
That deem themselves as being powerful because they have this hatred or they have this passion to separate us. I don't think they could go through that process. I think there's that disconnect with themselves to the point where there's no self-realization, there's no self-actualization. There's just this me against you. You're different than me. I'm powerful. I'm not in love. I'm the dominator. It's almost that willingness just to say that I'm bigger and better and badder than anybody else in this world, versus I love myself. I care about who I am at the deepest level. I think it's gonna be hard for a person to feel that, to then push hatred out into the world.
Yeah. So just a random question. It's not random because I wrote it down, but it just popped in my head. That's why I wrote it down. I was like, oh, I got to write that down. Let me ask. So, because people probably listening, man, because like on the medias, I call them the medias, where you have these people that's just, I would say from where I'm sitting, don't see it. And so do you engage that, or do you unfriend, unfollow?
I was following a thread that you were involved in the other day.
That's kind of what came.
Yeah. I'm not one that feels, I guess two things. One, before I was probably like reluctant because I was fearful of if I did say something that I was worried about what others think of what I say. I'm not that person now. I'm not one that likes to incite others. They have their point of view, and like you said earlier, you can have your point of view, just don't push that upon me and don't harm me and don't create, don't damage my life. Live over there and live in your little bubble and stay to yourself. So I think it is our willingness just to notice how we're dealing with each situation comes up now. When you're in the company of a black person, when you're in the company of maybe, for me, I recognize still at times where, although it's much more integrated into our neighborhoods, I wouldn't say the separation of the Asian population, but just still, it's like, it's not fully integrated into me. And I'd be lying to myself if I didn't. It's not like an anger or you're different than me or any of that. It's just, I think I haven't fully assimilated to the point where I can just say that's not still an energy that comes up in my life. And that's my work. So I guess for those that are on the sideline, asking yourself in each situation that feels uncomfortable with people, whether it's a black person, whether it's a gay person, whether it's, an older person. People can have prejudices against old people. You know, ask yourself, what do you really want from this situation? Do you want to have hatred? Do you want to have a disconnect? Or might you want to learn something about that person, knowing that they have the same basic genetics that you have? You come from love. You come from a place of giving. You come from a place of connection. You come from a place of wanting to fit in. You come from a place of wanting to grow and learn. What might I learn from this person? Just really being mindful in each situation, and just what can I do differently now? I don't need to expect that person across from me to do anything different at this point. That's on them, but I can decide what I do, be more mindful, be more aware, and notice when I don't say something, when I know I want to say something and I don't, that's doing a disservice to everybody that I connect with in my life.
Well, appreciate it, brother. Really do. For real, for real, for real. Man, it's just making me think, about the slogan on the shirts. Man, that just rings so true now. Focus on you, not me. Um, because my color, none of that really matters. You know what I'm saying? But now the true work starts with you.
Yeah.
Each individual has to now look inside themselves and spend time with all of that, with those emotions, and try, if you're not already there, work your way to getting to a place to where you're having those genuine one-on-one connections, or you're able to go in any social situation and be okay and not be uncomfortable or afraid to even speak a certain way. Because if you're finding yourself having to think, okay, I need to watch what I say, that may be a signal, like, okay, well, what is it that I'm saying that I need to even watch? So what is it about me, and not just coming in and saying, oh, that's a black man over there, I need to, no, focus on you, not me. So
Yeah.
that would be
We don't need to
my,
defend. Yeah, there's this idea that we need to defend our space versus I want to learn, I want to share, I want to understand. I mean, I'm a believer that every single human being on this earth has a beautiful gift that's unique to them. It's like go into that conversation, go into that situation. It's like, I'd love to learn what this person's gift is, because maybe that can help me move forward in my life. Just be open to that. Just ask, have an intention going into each situation. Like, how can I benefit from this conversation? Not, oh, I know how this conversation is going to go. Already like writing the script of what you're expecting versus being more curious, being more open, and setting the tone for the conversation, not pushing the normal defensive button and trying to defend your territory. It's like, are you open for me to share with you how I feel? Not you're wrong, you're screwed up, you're you. It's like, I just want to, are you open for me just to share with you how I feel about this? And then maybe we can just end the conversation, just so we can both speak our truth and we can respect each other because we're able to give each other that space. Period.
yeah, yeah. I gotta, it's a little different from what we're talking about, but I was just thinking, like, man, a lot of times I play a silly little game with just myself, to where I just try and get a fun fact from some people, like just random people, like, because they're like, man, you can talk to anybody. It's like, dude, I'm just trying to get a fun fact. I'm just having fun, because you can't just be like, oh, hey, guy, can you tell me a fun secret? No, like, I got to engage in that conversation to get to that point, to get that fun fact. And it's just like, oh, man, cool. That was a cool fun fact about that human, and then now it's something to kind of positively think about. Like, oh, shit, like Donna Masterson, I never would have thought in a million years, she's a friend of ours. But I would have never in a million years thought she was a professional clown, dude. You know what I'm saying? That's a fun fact. I never would have known that if I wouldn't have connected. Like, I met a real life. She made a great living and doing well as a clown. Check that off my bucket list. How many of y'all done did that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a clown, damn it. A real life clown. She can't come in like that because she'll scare the hell out of me. I'm scared of her.
I was just thinking also, as you were speaking there about, we think about everything having to be verbal, verbalized, we have to verbalize everything, right? Versus, can we just share an authentic smile with people that we come across in our lives? A gentle nod. It doesn't have to be words always, right? Words, if they're spoken from the heart, are going to be helpful and inclusive and open for people to connect to. But we can also just create space and kindness with our body language, just how we approach people. 6 feet, right? A smile, an authentic smile. And then when people share, just acknowledge it. I hear you. Because we all just want to be heard, right? That person that may be angry, maybe nobody else will listen to them. I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily have the same beliefs that you have, but I hear what you're saying, and I don't doubt that you feel that way. It doesn't have to be about us sharing how we feel. If it feels right, we can ask that question. Maybe are you open for me to share with you how I feel, and just see how that sits with you? No, okay, that's cool. I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate your honesty, and we have a difference of opinion.
Right. Agree to disagree. Well, y'all, man, this was a good one, man. This was a good one. We covered a whole lot.
And this conversation is going to continue. I think,
it's not a one timer.
No. And I think this is just an opportunity for Cedric and I just to probably scratch the surface of just conversations that we'll continue to have behind the scene, but to bring important topics like this to you, the listener. And again, this is really to really maybe create some opportunities for you as a human being to look within your heart, to really understand how you act and react in situations, and know how we create patterns that we habitualize, and we do the same thing over and over and we get the same result. So if there's discomfort, if there's things that don't feel quite right in your life, try something different. Have a conversation with somebody in a different way. Practice and understand how similar we are, how not how different we are, and share that with others. Be willing to stand up in a loving way in situations that almost demand it today. And say, no, what you're saying is not true about this person, about this race, about this society. So I'm not going to just stand by and just and agree with you. I'm not going to get into a fight with you. I'm not going to feel like I need to defend myself. I'm just going to share with you authentically how I feel. And that's something you as the listener need to be aware of in your life. And just the more we do it, the more we start taking actions in our lives, we're creating a safer space for those in our lives to do the same. And it starts with us. It starts with our willingness to change ourselves, to acknowledge maybe areas that we haven't done well in. And I'm first to say that that's been something that I will continue to look hard at myself with love and grow myself in a way that feels like I'm moving forward in a way that creates the inclusiveness that I feel is so important these days for myself, for my family, for Cedric, my brother, and for mankind.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, in closing, man, I would say See, meet everybody on the level, meaning on a human connection. Just make it level. We're human. You're human. Everything else out the window, and let your heart decide and not your mind. And then interact with them like just be square with them. You know, just be straight up. Like, would you, whatever thoughts you would have, it's the old cliche, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You wouldn't want somebody to treat your loved one that way, or think of them that way, or whatever the case may be. So be square about it, and just meet people on a level, and be curious. Be curious to what your fellow human is going through, because your reality doesn't make my reality any less real. So try and connect on that level to where you can meet in the middle, and everybody can have an understanding, so we could figure out a way to coexist and move forward to better create an environment for us to live better in harmony. Like, I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but like, we have to understand each other's problems as well as the wins. You know what I'm saying? In order to evolve and move faster. That's just kind of the way it is. Like, I need to know, okay, well, what kind of music pump Ron up? What he don't like? Okay, like, we got a project, so let me have some music out there for him. It can't just be mine. Oh, he a leftist, he a liberal, or Republican, or Democrat, so he can't. He's black, so whatever. Nah, man. I gotta meet you on a level, man, and come to understand you, and you, like your soul, your heart, and then move forward. Um, I guess that's just my love way of saying it. You know what I'm saying? And it could take a lot of work for you to get there. You got two people you can reach out to. They can help you dig deep, and it can be more on a one-on-one level, to where you can really, really dig deep, because we just talk about this stuff at a really, really high level, but it's a lot of steps to get to another level. I won't say a better level, but just another level. And then you get there and you got to dig some more to get to another level. And we can both definitely help with that if that's something you seek, or just hell, just want to talk. We both do that too. We've been doing it for almost an hour now.
And if you're that person, it's like, I would love to be part of this conversation. Send us a message. This is an open space for everybody to be involved in, whether it's as a listener, as a co-host, or as a guest. Just not a co-host. We're saying the two of us. Sorry. As a guest, we'd love to have you come in and share your views. I mean, we do have some boundaries that we would stay within, because this is a place where we want to grow the world, one person at a time, starting with us. So we do have, a certain expectation. But if during these conversations, whether it's this episode or others, that you connect with, and you'd love to be, a part of that conversation in another way, let us know. We totally invite you in, whether you're a man or a woman, or a straight man or a gay man or a lesbian, or whatever you are. We accept and love you, and we just want to be lights for everyone, and allow you to light your own light, and just be, an illumination in the world.
So, Ron, just to let you know, man, before we let y'all go, I do be watching your other interviews and stuff. So, which weighs more, man, a pound of rocks or a pound of feathers?
Pound of rice or pound of feathers?
Mm-hmm.
This is like a riddle or something. Pound of rice.
Dude, you were asked that on One Last Question.
Oh, I was, and I missed it. You know,
They both a pound.
I accept my inadequacies. You got me.
I was like, I gotta miss her, but I was like, man, I meant to be
Who was buried in Grant's tomb?
Huh?
It's like you've heard that one. Who was buried in Grant's tomb? Grant. Who was buried in Grant's tomb? Ulysses S. Grant. Grant. He was buried in his tomb. It's just a play on words. So you're.
God damn it.
All right, so it's been,
All right,
it's been fun, and it has been real fun. And I appreciate you. You're my brother. Love you, and look forward to this continued journey together. And love all you listeners.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Love you too, brother. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all joining us. Until next time.